Where did you first find out about the loop coaster? How did you first come about seeing that ride?
So I got an email from our broker that we bought most of our amusement rides through, Rides for You out of New Jersey, Lynn Sold, good guy. And there was an email talking about it, and I knew we weren't looking for a ride. And as far as a coaster was concerned, I was confident we could not put one into the park, just because of
the size
limitations. Size limitations, but this one looked like it could fit. And so I called Lynn and we discussed it, and I asked about the sizes, and it looked like it would, it could fit. And then we moved on to talking about whether it's not something that we could do at our park.
Right.
The ride was up in, as you know, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. And that was in July. I went up there the end of September, I think I went up there at the end of September and looked at the ride, make sure it was in good condition. Felt real comfortable with the company that it was with. They had maintained it, done a good job, inspected it, and felt it would be a good fit for our park. Thought it would be a good addition. Like I said, I wasn't looking for it, but this was one that just maybe fell into our lap.
In September, when you went up there and actually saw it in person, what condition was it in? Did you think it would look brand new, or did it a little bit older?
It needed a paint job. There's no doubt about that. It had some rust, but it was in locations where you would expect there to be rust, where you couldn't get to without taking it apart. Inspected it top to bottom, rode it a few times. It was fun. Enjoyed riding it. That's the main thing. All the safety features were in place. It's been well maintained. The company up there took that seriously, so that was not an issue. At that point, kind of started talking about doing it, and made a deal to make it happen. Given I decided to send you and Martine up there to take a look at it, to learn the operations. It timed out well. That your visit was the last day that they were going to have it in operation, and they were actually going to start taking it apart the next day. So that worked out real well. Of course, I was kind of waiting to hear what y'all had to say about it. What were your thoughts as far as that? How was your trip?
It was a good-looking coaster. I could tell it was intense. You could see groups of kids riding it over and over. I think it was a good-looking ride. I'm pretty confident it will be good for us, good for the park.
So you know how to take care of, you know how it operates. Y'all felt good about it?
I think I have a good baseline. I know enough about it to where I can solve the problems myself and figure it out. I'm not clueless, but I've never done it before.
And the maintenance side of it, Martine felt good about that?
Yeah, he seemed pretty confident in it. I think he said it maybe was fairly simple, but very tedious. There's a lot of stuff to do and focus on, but it's nothing is that difficult.
Yeah, a lot to inspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we make the deal for the loop coaster, and they start breaking it down, and they finally send it to us, and we get our hands on it. What is a time frame from when we first touch the ride at our park till it's operational and guests are riding it? How long do you think that would take?
Okay. Well, first I want to ask you this question. So I did this. I did this deal under wraps. Not telling anybody about it. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty much a done deal. It's kind of a done deal before I went up there. It was finalized afterwards. But I told you right before I was going, or I think you figured it out. What were your thoughts when you first learned we were doing a loop coaster at Swampy Jack's?
Before he really told me about it, I figured it out because I saw it on your computer. I walked into the office when we were open, and I was full steam, but I remember seeing the loop coaster on your computer, and you were really looking at it. I could tell that it was something you had interest in, or you would not be looking at it as hard as you were. And I think I asked you about it, and you said that this is, pretty much a done deal, or could be a done deal. I was excited. I was kind of in disbelief because I didn't like he had mentioned earlier, we weren't looking for a roller coaster specifically, or weren't looking for any ride at that time. So it was just completely out of the blue that we might be getting a roller coaster.
Right.
Yeah, I was excited for it, and I thought that it would be, knowing where it would go in the park, I thought it would be a great addition for the park. And we have our most popular rides, go-karts, so I think that would fit a lot of the same needs as people who want to ride go-karts. They want adrenaline, they want to have fun.
Right.
I think that'll help.
Yeah. So, getting the ride, getting it up and in place. They wanted to send the ride in October, but we could not accept it, as you know, in October because we have our Mr. Creepy's event going on, and we are extremely limited on space, and a roller coaster takes up a lot of room sitting on the ground, so we had to wait until after October 31st. And everybody agreed to make it happen. So I think we actually received it on November 4th. Took a full day to get it unloaded. So it came in on what, 6 truckloads?
Yeah, I think it was 6.
I think it was 6, maybe 7. I think it was 6. So we have from that point, if we wanted to get it finished by the time we open, is 4.5 months, and we really. Of course, we have to take care of all the rest of the park during the off season. So what we decided to do is take care of the rest of the park first. You know, take care of all our annual maintenance that needs to be done. You know, all the other rides have to be taken care of before we tackled the coaster. So now we're just at the point of beginning that. So that gives us 2 months to do that. 2 months and 2.5 months maybe to get it. We got, you know, we got to get the rust off of it. Take care of any welding issues. You know, when things are shipped, things get bent. They're taken apart. Things get damaged. You know, so we'll have to restore any restoration that needs to take place. We'll need to do. Take care of all the rust, prime it, paint it. First, you got to take off all the grease. I mean, those coasters take a lot of grease because obviously the friction of the wheels, and so there's grease all over the ride. So we got to degrease it first, basically, and we've already started that, obviously. So yeah, I feel good about getting it up and getting it painted. That's going to take longer than anything else. Prepped and painted is going to take far longer than pouring the slab and erecting it. Painting it, prepping and painting, and then, you know, inspections will probably take longer than the actual erection process.
So there's a lot of stuff to be done. I know what people will want is, if you had to put an exact day on it, do you think we'll have it the day the park opens? Do you think it might take a little bit longer?
So being a general contractor and having hundreds of projects that have to be finished by a certain date, I learned never to make that promise. You just never know what's going to happen. You do your best to get to that point, but you almost corner yourself if you do give a dead date. You corner yourself and you don't leave yourself any options to do what is best for the whole projects or projects. You need to leave it open and let that kind of thing flow into being, if that makes sense. I feel good about getting to the date. If it's late, it's, you know, if it's after we open, it's after we open. It's not a big deal.
Right.
But you shoot for it. You know, the most important thing is getting it right. Take care of the long, you know, get it prepped and painted and cleaned and so that you don't have long-term maintenance issues. This is your one chance while it's taken apart to take care of all those issues that could be a problem in the future. So you take care of them now. If it takes an extra 2 or 3 weeks up front, it's better than taking years on the backside. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You don't want to have to take the ride apart in 7 or 8 years because you didn't do something now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you got to be open-minded when you approach those sorts of things.
How many people are part of this process of putting the coaster together? Because you would think it's a huge project taking dozens or maybe 100 people.
No, not 100.
Just the big coasters. But how many people are really playing a part in our coaster?
So at different points, I mean, that depends on how you look at it. But if you're talking about just physical contact, you got a welder and you got, three to five people prepping and painting, and then when it's erected, probably have 5 to 7 people out there doing that. Of course, we got to pour a slab. Through that process, 3 to 7 people. It doesn't take that many people if you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you plan it out right. Fortunately, we know what we're doing.
So do you think that the loop coaster will bring any new types of guests that we haven't had in the park before? Any adrenaline junkies or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it'll certainly bring in those coaster enthusiasts. There's some people that try to ride every coaster in the country or the world or whatever. And so there's probably people in the South that have known about the ride being up, this coaster specifically, being up in Detroit, and just haven't had the opportunity to go up there and ride it. So I think they'll take this chance to ride it down here.
I was surprised when I put the Facebook video up, first a teaser on us getting the ride. There was a few people in there that have either ridden the ride already, or there was one comment in there talking about like all of the history of the ride, where it's been, and I think even what year it went from one park to the next to the next to the next. It was pretty interesting.
It's only been in 2 parks. We'll be the third.
We'll be the third, okay.
Yeah. Started in New Jersey, and then went to Detroit.
Then went to Detroit, now it's here.
Which is good, because that means it hasn't been put up and taken down and put up and taken down. It's been maintained.
It means it works.
Yeah. But as far as bringing people in, I think it'll bring it'll bring in some people that looking for some adrenaline. I think you mentioned adrenaline. That maybe didn't know we already had some really fun adrenaline rides. And, for example, the Scream and Swing, which is aptly named the Scream and Swing because, the screams coming off of it. And then the Swamp Ape. That's one of the great rides. It's one of the few indoor scrambler rides in the country. It may be the only one for now. I don't know. But it's certainly a dynamic ride. And I think this will just add to that repertoire of dynamic rides in a small park.